Hey guys, welcome back to Trek on the Tube. I know I don't usually do this. I don't usually drop a video for every, speck of news that pops up. I also don't speculate or theory craft, but this is different. This is the first official teaser trailer for Star Trek Picard. Oh my god, I'm freaking out. Ugh. Before we get into that, let me just go over a few things. What you're looking at now is the promotional picture that they just released. Okay, so naturally I can't upload the actual footage. I can't actually show it to you. The best I can do is put a link in the description of the video so you can check it out for yourselves. Problem is, as I'm writing this video, as I'm filming this video, the teaser's actually been removed from the internet. Apparently there was an embargo on it. It was supposed to come out later. Some of the news outlets didn't respect that. Whatever, I don't know. I'll put the link in the description as soon as I have it, don't worry. Okay, so first, a brief overview of what the footage actually shows us, tells us, and then I'll go over every detail worthy of our attention. We open with a few close-up shots, vines, and Picard washing his hands before moving on to a wider shot of the actual vineyard. Then close-up shots again, Picard's boots, his shadow in the grass, a crate of Chateau Picard wine before moving on to Sir Patrick Stewart himself, and the same Star Trek Picard logo that was revealed only just a few days ago. The whole video then closes with the tagline, "The end is only the beginning." Also, there's a voiceover during the clip. The voice would seem to belong to the person talking to Picard at the end. That person says, "15 years ago today, you led us out of the darkness, you commanded the greatest rescue armada in history, then the unimaginable. What did that cost you? Your faith? Your faith in us? Your faith in yourself? Tell us, why did you leave Starfleet, Admiral?" Okay, so let's break this down. For starters, the show has been said to take place 20 years after Picard's last appearance, which would place the show 20 years after the events of Nemesis. Nemesis took place in 2379, that would place the show in 2399. The voiceover says, 15 years ago today, you led us out of the darkness. You commanded the greatest rescue armada in history. Now, unless they're referring to an event that we're not aware of, there's a pretty big chance the voice is talking about the aftermath of the destruction of Romulus that occurred in 2387. Yes, that did happen in the Prime timeline. If you go back to the movie Star Trek from 2009, you'll see that Romulus was destroyed in the Prime timeline, thus affecting all the characters we've seen in The Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, and Voyager, but Vulcan was destroyed in the Kelvin timeline. Anyway, the math doesn't exactly add up. If 15 years ago today is referring to an event that took place in 2387, then the show should be taking place in 2402, but frankly, I don't know what else they could be referring to. In any case, we shouldn't get too caught up with precise dates because as it stands, we have basically no context to the footage we've been shown. Maybe this scene of Picard is the very last shot of the season. Maybe it does take place in 2402. Maybe the rest of the season takes place in 2399. Who knows? One final word about why they're probably referring to the destruction of Romulus. In the character breakdown we got a while back, one character, Kabar, is described as a 17-year-old Romulan that takes his devotion to Picard and his mission extremely seriously. It makes sense to believe Picard led the rescue armada and ended up saving the life of this baby Romulan, and now the baby, all grown up, follows Picard blindly. Kabar is also said to be the only child of a spiritual order. I don't know, maybe Picard placed him there when he saved him. Kabar went through his childhood there, and now that Picard's off on a mission again, he wants to come along. Anyway, apart from that, we learn that Picard is no longer a member of Starfleet. That comes as no surprise. It was announced already. What does come as a surprise, however, is that he's referred to as Admiral, which means at some point after the events of Nemesis and before he left Starfleet, he was promoted. Does this make sense? Yes. Sure, Picard never wanted the Admiralty, but at the end of the day, if you're part of an organization and they promote you, well, they promote you. There's only so many times you can refuse. This might not be the exact same vineyard as we saw in The Next Generation, but for all intents and purposes, it's clearly supposed to be. Remember, during the run of the show, it was his brother, Robert Picard, that took care of the family vineyard? But in Generations, this very same brother died in a fire, along with Picard's sister-in-law and nephew. As I was saying, this might not be the exact same vineyard, but it's fun to note that both back in the day and today, they filmed these scenes in California. What else is there to say? The wine. The wine itself was apparently bottled in 2386. I don't know if they're trying to tell us he was already back at the family vineyard before Romulus was destroyed, or if they just needed a date to put on the bottle. Note that the bottle is not the same one as we saw in Discovery. I mean, there's a century separating them both, so of course, but I'm just saying. The final thing I want to talk about is this. Not only is it the Next Generation theme, but it's also the sound of a flute. My guess is it's the iconic Reskin flute from the absolutely breathtaking episode The Inner Light. Look, I don't know if they're going to use the flute in any way in the show, but giving us this Easter egg using the sound is a great way to show the audience they know what they're doing. Frankly, I'm blown away. Look, I'm not the biggest fan of Discovery. As it stands, I can pretty safely say it's my least favorite of all the Star Trek shows, and I could go over the many problems I have with it, but this right here seems to be the complete opposite. The show looks bright and clear. It seems to be paced and filmed in a relaxing, almost soothing Next Generation way. There's less than a minute's worth of footage, and yet we find ourselves transported back to important parts of what made up the Picard character. The vineyard, the flute. Yeah, action and adventure are fun, but character-driven stories are the heart and soul of Star Trek. And it seems like the team behind Star Trek Picard really understand that. Okay, there you go. That's pretty much it. Actually, no, one last thing, because I've seen a lot of people confused about this. Picard and Discovery are, yes, both produced by the same production companies. And yes, Alex Kurtzman is overseeing both shows. He's the showrunner for everything Star Trek related on TV. But there are two completely different writing teams. The people writing Discovery are not involved with the people writing Picard, which means whatever you think of one might not reflect what you'll think of the other. Okay, there you go. Thank you so much for watching. Are you as excited about this as I am? Fun fact, 25 years ago today, which was the 23rd of, what are we, May? 23rd of May, the last episode of The Next Generation came out, All Good Things. So this trailer was released for the 25th anniversary of that episode. I find that great. I mean, everything points to the team really knowing what Star Trek is and really knowing about The Next Generation. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. As I said, remember to like, subscribe, tell your friends about this, tell your friends about the channel, and as usual, live long and prosper.